Visualize this. You are a nice and a calm person, and yet you will find someone who will find a reason to quarrel or fight with you. Or you may be a sincere automotive driver and you always follow the traffic rules all the time, even when others are breaking the rules. And this one day, you are in a hurry and you get fined for breaking the rules. You always try and help others in all possible ways that you can, and yet you don't get the same help in return. Or maybe at work you find out that even though you work harder, you actually earn less than someone else in the same job. You could lose a promotion to someone else who is far less qualified as compared to you. Or even though you are working hard and sacrificing your pleasures for a purpose to benefit others, they do not appreciate your contribution. You feel that life isn't always fair, isn't it? Unless you are winning most of the time, it is pretty normal that most of life will seem unfair to you. So why is it so? Is life really unfair, or we perceive it in this way? Can we really do something about it? What do you do when nothing seems to be going your way? Should you ask, why me? Or should you look for what your life is trying to tell you? These answers are very important, because how we choose to respond to the difficult situations and things in our life that happen to us can mean the real difference between a life of anger, frustration, disappointment, or a life of joy, hope, and fulfillment. It's not always easy to answer the question, what should you do when life is unfair? And so in this video, let us explore this particular topic in some detail, and let us try to find out why some of us, or maybe many of us, can feel that life is not fair. And then let us look at some ways of overcoming this feeling. Before we dive deeper, I'm glad to share that I was able to hit the 10,000 subscriber mark on my YouTube channel this month. And I will request you to like this video so that it stays with you as your useful reference. And also, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done already, as we regularly post content to help you grow, succeed, and find solutions to your business, career, and life situations. It's not about life being fair or unfair. The truth is that life works on a set of rules that is the real rules. The real rules work in the real world. They actually make a lot of sense, but they are a bit more complicated and a lot less comfortable, which is why most people never manage to learn them. Do you know what these rules are? Let's look at what these rules are. Rule number 1. Life is a competition for survival of the fittest. That's right. That business that you work for, someone's trying to kill it. And that job that you like, someone would love to replace you with a computer program. Even your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your high-paying job, or that prize that you want, so does somebody else. And so we are all in a competition, although we prefer not to realize or recognize it. Most achievements are notable only in relation to those of others. The truth is that life is a competition, and it always has been this way, and it always will remain like that in one or the other way. Perhaps you travel more miles, or perhaps you can dance better than anybody else, or perhaps you have got more social media likes than anybody on the average. Well done. Although it's a painful thing to believe, which is why we are constantly assuring one another the opposite. Just do your best. Be here. You are in no competition with anybody else. You are just in competition only with yourself. The funny thing about these statements is that they are designed to make you try harder anyways. If competition really didn't matter, we would be telling struggling children to just give up. Fortunately, we don't live in a world in which everyone has to defeat one another to prosper. The blessing of modern civilization is that there are abundant opportunities and enough for all of us to get by even if we don't compete directly. But we must never fall for the collective delusion that there is not a competition going on. People dress up to win. They interview to win jobs. If you deny that competition exists, you are just losing. Everything in demand is on a competitive scale, and the best is available only to those who are willing to truly fight for it. The rule number 2 is that you are judged by what you do and not what you think. So your actions speak louder than your thoughts. Society judges people by what they can do for others. Can you save people from a burning house? Can you remove a tumor? Can you make a room of strangers laugh? If you can do all of this, you have got value right there. That's not how we judge ourselves though. We judge ourselves by our own thoughts. I am a good person. I am ambitious. I am better than this. These kind of impulses may comfort us, but they are not how the world sees us. They're not even how we see other people. We also like to think that society rewards those who do the best work. In reality, however, social reward is just a network effect. Reward comes down mostly to the number of people you reach. For example, write an unpublished book, you are nobody. But when you write Harry Potter, the world wants to know you. Save a life and you are just a small town hero. But if you can cure a disease like cancer, you are a legend. Unfortunately, the same rule applies to all talents. You may hate this, but this is the reality. And reality doesn't care. You are judged by what you have the ability to do and the volume of people you can affect. If you don't accept this, then the judgment of the world will seem very unfair to you. And the rule number 3 is that fairness is not only limited to our own self-interest. People like to invent moral authority. We have an innate sense of right and wrong, and we expect the world around us to comply with us. Our parents tell us this, our teachers teach us this. Be a good boy, be a good girl, and if you do so, you will be rewarded. But reality is indifferent. Although you may have studied hard, but you may fail the exam. Although you may work hard, but you may not get promoted. You may do everything right, yet you will be blamed for the failure. The problem isn't that life is unfair. It's because of our broken idea of fairness. There are many other factors that influence our perception of what is fair and what is not fair, and there are many other things that determine how things may turn up for us in our favor or maybe not in our favor. Now let's look at these factors. We seem to believe that life should be perfect, however it is not. So we need to understand and face the reality irrespective of our desire to be perfect or to assume that everything around us will be perfect. The second thing is that how the world works in reality is very different from our opinion or how it should ideally work. And that's what some people call it as ground reality. The next is, although we may be the best as per our own opinion, the world is composed of so many diverse groups of people with so different values, beliefs and experiences, and that's what defines our own experience with others as well as the reality about fairness. So we may be able to influence the reality in some way, however, no one can guarantee if the effects will sustain. And finally, there is an element of chance that applies to all of us in some magic or unknown formula. Now let's discuss what can you do to overcome this feeling that life is unfair. And we suggest 3 useful approaches. And the first one is that you should stop overthinking about the fair and unfair. Dwelling on unfairness doesn't do anything to change it. It actually affects our ability to do that, since obsessive thinking drains our energy, magnifies our emotions, and keeps us more focused on problems than their solutions. This could be one of the biggest challenges for anyone, to find it almost satisfying at times to think about things that seem wrong, as if this is a productive thing to do. If you struggle with this, recognize when you start to fixate on blaming thoughts and visualize a stop sign in your head, and then repeat an affirmation along the lines of, "This isn't a productive thing. It is what it is, and I can either accept it or try to change it." The second is, you should use your logic and rationale. When we feel cheated, we tend to react emotionally, and then we use our logical brain to rationalize that response. We can be far more effective if we use our logical brain first before we do something we will later regret. In some cases, when we think rationally, we may realize an unfair situation is not a big deal in the overall grand scheme of things. For example, when someone cuts us off and runs through a red light, for example, it could be annoying, but you should think, is it really worth fuming during a car ride that could otherwise be pleasant? And at other times, we will still feel strongly that we need to fight for our justice, but this doesn't require us to act with aggression. It requires calm, careful planning and acting. If it's something we can, in fact, control ourselves. And last but not the least, do something about what you can control. We can't change what happened in the past, but we can address something that's happening right now. We can't change someone else's decision or behavior if they aren't willing to change. We can change how we respond to them. We can't change those tragedies that have occurred in our own lives or in places across the globe, but we can surely support causes that seek to prevent future tragedies or even spearhead our own strategies. And we can't guarantee specific outcomes for our own actions, but we can increase our odds of making a difference by being clear-headed, patient, and consistent. Sometimes there will be unfair things that we'll simply need to accept, and it might feel instinctive to fight all of that. We are only human, and we will sometimes give in to our emotional responses. What's important is that we try to move beyond them, so we don't let the things we can't control take control of us. I hope you found this video useful. Please give us a like and also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done already, as we regularly post content to help you grow, succeed, and find solutions to your business, career, and life situations. Thanks for watching.